We have more eyeballs on the game, and Caitlin Clark brings that. Why would we feel some kind of way?
WNBA icon Lisa Leslie recently shared her thoughts with unexpected candor regarding the Caitlin Clark TV controversy. When questioned about the Indiana Fever's overwhelming presence on national television, with an astonishing 41 out of 44 games broadcasted, Leslie's response turned heads and sparked widespread discussion.
Did an interview with USA Today, and I wanted to jump on really quickly and share that in case you missed it, and also share my perspective, because it's so noteworthy how Lisa Leslie responds to the news that the Indiana Fever.
Her insightful viewpoint completely turns the conversation around, shedding light on why some of the most influential figures in women's basketball see the situation in a radically different light than many of today's critics. The statistics are undeniable. The Indiana Fever are set to appear on national television for 41 of their 44 regular season games, marking an extraordinary level of exposure for any WNBA team. This announcement has ignited intense debates online, with some accusing favoritism, while others applaud the added visibility for the league.
Caitlin Clark making waves without winning a championship, despite getting very close. If UConn doesn't take it this year, it feels like, Paige is going to be in that same boat. So I'm curious if you think winning an NCAA championship is needed for that eventual GOAT conversation, greatest of all time.
When USA Today recently asked four-time Olympic gold medalist and WNBA legend Lisa Leslie about the controversy, her response surprised many. Instead of jumping on the bandwagon of criticism or expressing any frustration, she offered a masterclass in perspective. Her answer perfectly illustrated why the legends of women's basketball see the situation in a way that differs greatly from some of today's critics.
Marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect, called the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games? I think we have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else. And I think Caitlin has said that even herself in certain interviews. And I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So I just don't, again, I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have. But it is what it is, and I think that we are all benefiting.
I believe it's all about money, marketing, and we can't ignore what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game, Leslie said with conviction. I'm not going to pretend it's something we don't see. Her direct and honest statement cuts through the chatter that has surrounded WNBA discussions since Clark's rise to prominence.
National Player of the Year, I won all of the individual awards, but sometimes, it's very hard to win a national championship, regardless of how much people talk about it, like, oh, you have to have it. It is one of the hardest things to do in a tournament where you have so many games and you're trying to get there. So yeah, shout out to all of the players who were able to win national championships, but it doesn't make a player who didn't win a national championship any less of an amazing individual player and the possibility to be in the talks of being.
Leslie, who lived through the early struggles of the WNBA as one of its founding superstars, understands something that seems to elude many current observers. This level of attention is unprecedented and should be embraced. Have we ever had teams having to play in larger arenas to accommodate a crowd? No, we have not, Leslie pointed out, referring to the numerous venue changes across the league to meet the demand for seats at Fever games. This simple remark speaks volumes. Leslie isn't viewing Caitlin Clark's impact through a lens of jealousy or insecurity. She's placing it within a historical context, something she's uniquely qualified to do as someone who witnessed the league's formative years. What makes Leslie's perspective particularly valuable is that she brings the experience of having to build the league with far less support and recognition. During Leslie's early years in the WNBA, players fought just to get basic media coverage. They played in smaller arenas with limited broadcast opportunities, laying the foundation for today's increased visibility through sheer talent and perseverance. Given this history, one might expect Leslie to feel frustration over the attention Clark is receiving so early in her career. But instead, Leslie offers a level of wisdom that highlights why the pioneers of women's basketball often have a different viewpoint from some of today's critics. When one player eats, we all eat, Leslie explained. As we all get more opportunities, it opens doors for everyone else. This philosophy underscores the fundamental divide in how people view Clark's rise. While some see the attention as a zero-sum game, where Clark's visibility means less spotlight for others, Leslie sees the expansive potential. More exposure leads to more viewers, which means more revenue, and more revenue leads to better contracts and improved conditions for all players. Leslie also praised Clark's approach to the spotlight. "I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her," Leslie said. This speaks to an often overlooked aspect of Clark's character, her consistent efforts to redirect attention to her teammates and to the larger women's game. Despite the media frenzy surrounding her, Clark has repeatedly emphasized that she's just one player in a league full of incredible talent. "I don't understand what the big deal is about Caitlin getting so much love," Leslie continued. "She deserves it, and she's helped change the game, just like a lot of other players have." Leslie's statement highlights a crucial difference in perspective. She doesn't see recognition as something that should be evenly distributed regardless of impact. Instead, she acknowledges the reality that different players contribute differently to the game's growth, and the attention they receive often reflects this. What stands out in Leslie's comments is how they contrast with the narrative pushed by some media outlets. Rather than framing Clark's popularity as divisive or unfair, Leslie sees it as something positive for everyone involved. "We are all benefiting from the effects that she's had on the game," Leslie said. "I just appreciate the way she shows up." Leslie went on to highlight Clark's qualities that deserve recognition. She's a fierce competitor, a trash talker, a player who elevates her teammates, and an exciting talent to watch. These observations come from a deep understanding of the game, not just marketing hype. As a Hall of Famer who's experienced basketball at its highest level, Leslie evaluates Clark based on her skills and impact, not just her media presence. Leslie's appreciation extends beyond Clark to the entire WNBA. "I miss seeing A'ja Wilson out there. She's still one of the best players in the world," Leslie remarked, also praising Breanna Stewart as one of the league's top talents. By mentioning these established stars, Leslie shows that recognizing Clark's impact doesn't diminish other players. It's entirely possible and necessary to celebrate multiple forms of excellence simultaneously. Leslie then addressed the core issue directly: the disparity in televised games between the Fever and other teams. "Are we going to get upset about 5, 6, 10 games less on TV or not?" she said. "I don't think we should. We have access to find these games now in a way we've never had before, and we need to appreciate that." This perspective reflects a generational difference in how WNBA visibility is perceived. For pioneers like Leslie, who played at a time when women's basketball on TV was almost impossible to find, the current multi-platform availability represents an incredible leap forward. A few games difference in national TV coverage is a small issue compared to the overall growth of the league. "I'm so thankful for her," Leslie said of Clark. "I'm thankful for all of these women and where the game is now. We have to step back and see the bigger picture and how it's impacting all of us." This call to focus on the bigger picture encapsulates the wisdom Leslie brings to the conversation. As someone who helped build the WNBA from the ground up, she understands that the league's growth hasn't been linear or equal at all times. Different eras have had different catalysts, stars, and opportunities.
Please welcome to the show, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back? Cheers.
Excited to be
Cheers.
back. Don't worry. I got this nice throwback Gatorade can.
Well played.
Caitlin Clark just surprised everyone in a way no one expected, doing it live on Zoom during an unfiltered interview with WNBA icons Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. From the moment she appeared on screen, it was obvious this wouldn't be your usual heartwarming segment. It was unvarnished, authentic, and gave a behind-the-scenes look at everything from her transition to the WNBA, to locker room gossip, to the intense rivalries in those tough college games. And, of course, it all came with Caitlin's trademark wit and charisma.
Product placement.
There we
Will,
go.
our show loves it. Our show loves it.
So, what exactly did Caitlin Clark spill, and why is the basketball world buzzing? Stick around, because Caitlin didn't hold back on a lot of juicy details. Everything from Paige Bueckers to Diana Taurasi, and even calling out the unfounded rumors Sheryl Swoopes has been spreading about the team. Ready for it? Let's dive in. It was the moment that shook the internet. 1 year ago, Diana Taurasi stared into the camera and delivered a now iconic warning to Caitlin Clark. Reality is coming. Remember that?
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Fast forward to this year, and let's just say Diana's words didn't quite hold up. Caitlin's response? A sly smirk, a slight nod, and a confident smile. The vibe was electric, sharp, playful, and full of wit. But don't be fooled, it was also a statement.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats.
Now, unfortunately,
Hall of
reality
Fame.
is coming to me now.
What's your big plans?
in early.
What are you going to do?
I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's 10 years.
For Diana Taurasi, sharing the court with Caitlin Clark wasn't just another game, it was a moment for the ages. Looking back on their first matchup in Phoenix, Taurasi didn't mince words about the atmosphere. It felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. The crowd was electric, the hype was real, and it wasn't just about basketball. It was about seeing a torch being passed right before our eyes, she shared. Diana spoke with deep respect, reflecting on how surreal it was to finally face the players she'd been watching dominate college basketball for years.
What was it like for you two to play against each other?
It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe. And to be on the court and, the first game was in Phoenix, and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot,
Caitlin's perspective? Just as classy, but with her signature edge. She remembered that Phoenix game too. Except for her, it was personal. We were down by like 10 or 15 and came all the way back to win, she recalled, pride clear in her voice. That comeback wasn't just another line on the scoreboard, it was a defining moment for her and her team. Battling against a legend like Taurasi and coming out victorious? That's the kind of experience that builds confidence. And Caitlin made sure everyone knew it.
And what it was like to play against D.
Well, I was saying, that game in Phoenix, because we only played in Phoenix one time. And it was before Olympic break. Obviously, we had All-Star there too, but it was a great game. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we were down like 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won. That was like our first win versus a team that was above 500. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Beneath all the fierce competition, there was a deep mutual respect. The moment transcended being just another game. It became a clash of eras, unfolding right before our eyes. While Caitlin and Diana might be at different points in their careers, the impact they're both having, that's something that will last forever. As they laughed and joked about the experience, it was clear. This wasn't just playful banter, it was basketball's past and future coming together in perfect harmony.
Caitlin, how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach and Stephanie White. You added Natasha Howard, who Sue knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but when you see that and you see those names come in, what does What does that make you feel like?
Caitlin Clark is heading into the new WNBA season with more than just momentum. She's bringing the heat. When talking about her revamped roster, her excitement was impossible to miss. With new head coach Stephanie White, seasoned veterans like Natasha Howard and Dawana Bonner, sharpshooters like Sophie Cunningham, and defensive powerhouses like Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner, Caitlin knows the talent on her team. But she's also aware of the challenges ahead. With 7 new players and a tight timeline to build chemistry, Caitlin's already in full figure-it-out mode, and she's ready to tackle it head-on.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously on paper we have a really good team, but, you know, you only have, we start training camp, I think, on the 27th, and then, we have a back-to-back of preseason games on May 3rd and May 4th. So it's you have a very short amount of time to put that together, and 7 new pieces, and whether we carry 11 or 12, more than half of our roster, that's a hard thing within itself, but we should be pretty good. And I'm excited about it. I think what we needed was, we added a lot more experience. In the playoffs, we just didn't have that. We were a young group.
And it's not just her mental game that's been getting stronger, her physical game has leveled up too. When asked about that viral off-season photo where her arms looked noticeably more defined, Caitlin couldn't help but laugh.
And there was the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened there?
How did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
AI is getting out of control. Come on.
Caitlin Clark wasn't just hitting the weight room to look good in a photo. She was preparing to become an even more dominant force on the court. Every hour spent in the gym was about strengthening her body to match her fierce mentality. It wasn't just about bulking up. It was about becoming more powerful, more relentless, and untouchable when the game was on the line. But Caitlin didn't stop at physical strength. She refined her entire skill set. She focused on adding a floater to her arsenal, powering through contact at the rim, and mastering the mid-range game. This wasn't casual training. It was a deliberate plan to evolve into an unguardable offensive weapon. Caitlin isn't just preparing to keep up with the competition, she's training to take over. Every move, every shot, was with the intention of dominating in ways we've never seen before.
I feel like I'm getting hammered.
Last season, Caitlin Clark faced cheap shots, constant hacking, and defenders who thought they could muscle their way into shutting her down. Well, guess what? That chapter is officially closed. The Indiana Fever have loaded up with not 1, not 2, but 3 enforcers who won't stand for any of that nonsense anymore.
So the Indiana Fever have got their enforcer. They have got their enforcer for Caitlin Clark. And I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to Caitlin Clark and their enforcer, last year everyone was talking about them needing an enforcer.
Enter Howard, Cunningham, and Bonner, veterans with attitude. If critics think they can bully Clark, they'll have to get past them first.
The closest thing they had was Erica Wheeler. That was the closest thing they had for someone to defend Caitlin Clark was Erica freaking Wheeler. Maybe Tammy, but Caitlin Clark was getting hit a lot. She was getting hit a lot early and they needed their Charles Oakley.
This move isn't just about talent, it's a statement. The Fever aren't here to compete. They're here to dominate. With these new additions, they've built a squad that plays fast, tough, and, most importantly, protects Clark. Her bullies on notice? So how will these 3 transform the Fever into a WNBA powerhouse?
Sometimes you need one of those players on your team. You need one of those enforcers. Every good player, by the way. Every good player, every good team that is a super duper star. Most of the time have enforcer type players.
Picture this. Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's most electrifying rookie, steps onto the court for her debut. Fans are buzzing, expecting a show. Instead, hard fouls, excessive contact, and physicality that seemed aimed at taking her down. What's going on here?
That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court.
Clark wasn't just a rookie. She was targeted, with 17% of all flagrant fouls last season against her, proving defenders weren't just playing defense, they were trying to take her down.
Now, what little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that? How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's that's so. It looks like a soap opera.
And leading the charge? The Chicago Sky. A shocking 80% of those flagrant fouls came from one team. That's no coincidence. It's a statement. They weren't just defending, they were sending a message. Was it intimidation, frustration, or just a desperate attempt to slow a rising star? Whatever the reason, Clark's presence clearly made them uncomfortable.
Clark! Hammer!
Clark drives, Reese floors her. Silence. Was it too much? Commentators wondered, but Clark shook it off and kept playing.
I think we went up really strong a lot of times and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle.
That's what makes Clark special. Her composure. After a cheap shot from Kennedy Carter, she simply said, "That's not a basketball play, but gotta play through it." No complaints, no retaliation, just pure mental toughness.
And Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Kennedy Carter.
Clark proved she could take the hits, but the Fever knew she needed protection. So they made moves, big ones. With some serious enforcers now on the roster, no one's bullying Clark anymore. Who are they? And how will they change the Fever's dynamic?
The signing of Natasha Howard represents a massive step forward for the Indiana Fever and their quest for a championship. In Howard, the Fever gain a three-time WNBA champion, a Defensive Player of the Year, an All-Star, and a veteran with more than 300 games played.
Natasha Howard isn't just an addition, she's the enforcer the Fever needed. From day one, the message was clear. Clark's no longer an easy target. A three-time champ, former Defensive Player of the Year, Howard's toughness will end the days of Clark getting bullied.
But all of that, and we haven't yet touched upon what Howard does best: defend. Howard was named Defensive Player of the Year in 2019 and has finished in the top 10 of the Defensive Player of the Year voting 3 times in her career. Howard has averaged at least 1 block and 1 steal per game in each of her last 7 seasons. And that versatility is really what makes her a weapon on defense.
Last season, Clark faced nonstop physicality, but now defenders will think twice. Howard alone shifts the power dynamic. She commands respect next to Clark, and with her elite stats, 17.6 points, 6.7 rebounds, and a 3-point threat, she'll create more space for Clark, Mitchell, and Boston.
Last season, with a minimum of 25 games played, Natasha Howard was one of just 13 players to average 18 points per game. She was one of 16 players to average 7 rebounds per game. And the list of players to average both 18 and 7 last year, short and elite. Asia Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, Brittany Griner, and yes, Natasha Howard.
Howard's defense is where she truly dominates. A former Defensive Player of the Year, she's a nightmare in the paint.
But that wingspan and 6'2" height allows her to be disruptive defensively around the rim on opposing bigs too. In fact, Howard will enter the 2025 season 25th all-time in blocks in WNBA history.
Howard's ready to elevate Clark in the Fever, bringing her experience and toughness to help them dominate, not just fight back.
Caitlin Clark was getting hit a lot. She was getting hit a lot early and they needed their Charles Oakley. You've got that in Sophie Cunningham.
Sophie Cunningham is heading to Indiana, making the WNBA even more exciting. If Clark needed someone to keep the bullies in check and hit threes, she's got her.
There are so many videos of Sophie Cunningham just starting brawls.
Some might ask, Cunningham? Wasn't she bringing Clark to Phoenix? Clark had other plans, ensuring Cunningham joined her in Indiana.
Sophie Cunningham, in general, is just wild. Wild is the best word I can use to describe Sophie Cunningham. And it's carnage. It's carnage a lot of the time when Sophie Cunningham gets involved with anything. The amount of fights that Sophie Cunningham has been involved in is mental.
Cunningham is a perfect fit for Indiana. She's not just tough, she's an elite shooter, hitting 37.8% from deep last season. With Clark running the offense, that number will rise.
If she hits a 3, Maisha Hines-Allen fouls her, and then tries to step over. And then Sophie Cunningham grabs her leg. Nobody's going near Maisha Hines-Allen, but no, Sophie Cunningham will start the fight. The refs are trying to break it up. None of the Mercury players are gonna go near Maisha Hines-Allen. They're scared. She's scared the bejesus out of them. Maisha Hines-Allen is one of the toughest players in this league. Sophie Cunningham going head to head straight with her.
Cunningham brings more than shooting. She's got an edge. She plays through contact, talks trash, and backs it up. Plus, she's a Taekwondo black belt.
Like Sophie Cunningham, there are so many things where it's like, part of it her fault, part of it not her fault, but she will not back down. She will not back down under any circumstances from anything. And that is what the Indiana Fever need. If somebody hits Caitlin Clark, if somebody does what Victoria Vivians did to Caitlin Clark, it's not going to be Caitlin Clark that's getting involved to be teed up. Sophie Cunningham's in there. You take the technical foul. You take it.
Cunningham adds versatility to the Fever's lineup as a wing who can shoot, defend, and provide leadership, averaging 8.4 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 2.0 assists last season.
Like Sophie Cunningham is guarding the screen here, and she just takes a hard hit, nothing major, so she's down, and then after taking a hard hit, just gets back up and laughs. About.
Cunningham thrives in high-pressure moments, bringing toughness, experience, and fearlessness. Whether it's hitting a clutch three, locking down a guard, or stepping up when things get chippy.
She takes the hard hit and goes down, obviously, gets back up and just laughs. Like, that's a legitimate thing where you're like, okay, yeah, this is a person who is just, like, there is a toughness there with Sophie Cunningham. And, like, she's not scared.
Cunningham's presence ensures defenses can't collapse on Clark and Boston, as her perimeter shooting ability forces teams to think twice about doubling Clark, making the Fever's offense even more dangerous.
So, yeah, like, a solid signing for what she does on the floor. But, like, be protecting Caitlin Clark type thing.
The big question is how Cunningham's aggressive style will mesh with Clark's finesse. But one thing's for sure, Indiana just got a lot tougher, and the rest of the WNBA better take notice.
She's just a smart player. You already see what she's done in her rookie season, and I think she gets the ball to people in the right positions to help them be successful, so that's huge. And I'm hoping that I can give her a little bit more leadership and knowledge for her to understand this league a little bit better. And like I said, when playoffs hit, she'll be ready.
DeWanna Bonner isn't just joining the Fever. She's here to reshape their culture and bring championship experience, making it clear Indiana is ready to win now.
Our first game in Indiana, we gotta get a win.
Bonner's addition turns the Fever from an exciting young team into a championship contender, adding elite defense, clutch scoring, and floor spacing alongside Boston, Clark, Mitchell, and Cunningham.
What excites you the most about this team that you're going to be joining?
I mean, they have dynamic pieces in CC and Kelsey Mitchell and AB, Lexi Hall. I mean, they have a great core, so why not just add to that and try to, take us to the next level in the playoffs. They were in first round, and I played against them in the first round, and the way they came back the second game, it just makes you excited to, okay, I want to be a part of that. They didn't lay down and quit. They came back and actually try to beat us really, that next game.
Bonner's not just a skilled player. She's a true leader, elevating Clark, Boston, and Mitchell by studying their game and maximizing their strengths.
Like I said, hopefully I can make her job a little easier and she can make mine a little easier. But I think she's a great person, and we, been kind of connecting here. We had a great workout this morning, and it was fun. She's a fun kid.
Bonner sees something special in Clark's competitive fire and is ready to guide her towards superstardom, using her experience to push Clark to new heights.
Kind of went on this crazy run, and they were the most well-gelled team at that time. They went from the bottom straight, and they just kept trending. And it was like one of those teams you're like, man, you don't want to really see them in the playoffs. So we got the matchup, and I think our experience helped us very well. But that second game, they came out, and it was like, they just kind of went on this trajectory that was just like on the rise, and it was literally Fever on the rise during right after All-Star. So that's exciting. That's exciting for me to see, and that kind of helped me with my decision.
Last season, the Fever lacked experience, but Bonner brings postseason know-how, leadership, and the ability to close games. all while elevating Clark to new heights.
That experience to a young, maturing team, what can you provide?
I'm hoping that I can provide a little bit of leadership, but I feel like they're a team that last year helped them a lot and understand the dynamics of playoffs. It's a whole different ball game when playoffs come, and I feel like they're a young team, but they're a good team, and hopefully I can just provide the knowledge and explain playoffs to them a little bit better so we can be better prepared and don't get punched in the face the first game. And it's hard to come back when you do that the first game. It's hard to come back and try to win 2 straight against a veteran team. So I think they got it.
What does Bonner's arrival mean for Indiana? Everything. Her playoff experience and championship mindset are the missing pieces for a team on the rise. This isn't just a veteran signing. It's a statement that the Fever are done waiting. The future is now. With Bonner, Clark, Boston, and Mitchell, this team isn't just fun to watch, it's a contender. Are you ready for the Indiana Fever show? It's coming fast.
Thank you. I can't wait to give this to my girlfriend.
You don't have a girlfriend, Mike.
If you thought Caitlin Clark was simply a deadly sharpshooter with an intense, competitive spirit, think again. She's also a comedy mastermind. From roasting her teammates to delivering perfect one-liners and pulling off surprising antics, Clark knows how to keep the laughs coming. Now, let's dive into 10 of Caitlin Clark's funniest moments that had everyone in stitches. Kicking things off is the time Caitlin Clark made an appearance on SNL's Weekend Update. What made this moment so funny and entertaining was that Caitlin came fully prepared with her own jokes written down. It was a hilarious scene, giving the audience and fans a chance to see her comedic side. Michael also delivered an absolutely perfect introduction to Clark, adding to the laughter.
The University of Iowa announced that basketball star Caitlin Clark will have her jersey retired and replaced with an apron. Well, the WNBA draft is this Monday, and Iowa star Caitlin Clark is expected to be the #1 pick. Here to comment is Caitlin Clark.
The audience absolutely loved having Clark in the spotlight, and things got even funnier when Caitlin Clark fired back at Michael's earlier joke by asking him to read some of the jokes she had written herself. The exchange took the humor to a whole new level.
This year, Caitlin Clark broke the record for three-pointers in a single season, and I have 3-pointers for Michael Che. 1B, 2 funnier, 3...
To wrap up the segment, Caitlin Clark took it up a notch by handing Michael an apron, a nod to his earlier joke when he introduced her to the show. The timing was perfect, and she even took the opportunity to roast Michael a little more, adding another layer of comedy to the moment.
Since you're such a big fan, I brought you a souvenir. It's an apron signed by me.
Thank you. I can't wait to give this to my girlfriend.
You don't have a girlfriend, Mike.
Caitlin Clark, everybody!
At this point, the crowd was absolutely roaring with laughter. The whole exchange only added to the humor, showcasing just how funny and entertaining Caitlin Clark really is. Moving on to number 2, aside from those times when she came prepared with jokes, Clark has had plenty of moments where she cracked a joke off the cuff, leaving everyone in stitches with her spontaneous humor. Like that one time, she tried to make a wordplay joke about cheetahs.
Caitlin, pits of your soul, you're a comedian. Do you have any updated jokes for me?
Why don't they take tests at the zoo? There's too many cheetahs.
What made it even funnier was the way the reporter just stood there, totally dazed and amused, while Clark couldn't help but laugh and smile, fully aware of how mischievous and hilarious the moment was. Now, moving on to number 3, Caitlin Clark doesn't keep her jokes limited to interviews. She's also a pro at the friendly roast. During one interview, the WNBA star was on the court when the reporter decided to test their own shooting skills.
I think you have to go now. Come on. Let's see if you can get it there.
Two more. You know, I have no legs, so I can come in here.
No, I feel confident. Let's see.
I'm wearing this jacket.
Oh.
Ugh,
That's
terrible.
not bad. Get it there.
Oh my God.
You gotta jump.
Even though Clark tried to be supportive, she just couldn't help but laugh and throw in a few playful jabs. And when the reporter tried to blame his terrible shooting on his dress clothes and the tight rims, Caitlin wasn't about to let him off the hook that easily.
Tight rims, I'm telling you.
No, I think that might just be you, honestly.
This moment just made Clark even more lovable thanks to her hilarious personality. Coming in at number 4, another unforgettable moment that had everyone buzzing about Caitlin Clark's mischievous side was her visit to a goat petting zoo with her teammates. Watching Clark feed the baby goats quickly turned into pure entertainment, and naturally, she turned the whole thing into her own personal comedy show.
All right, relax. Everybody don't fight over me. Don't fight over me, okay? Wait, I don't remember who I bet.
Fans love seeing Caitlin and her teammates bond over something other than basketball. But the real comedy came from the fans themselves, who couldn't resist making the perfect joke: the goat feeding goats. Now, halfway through at number 5, Caitlin Clark's easygoing and cheerful nature really shines when she's around her teammates, both on and off the court. Her bond with Lexi Hull is especially fun to watch. One particularly funny moment happened during an interview when Lexi was answering a question, only for Caitlin to interrupt with a burst of childish laughter at something Lexi said.
What was your intent there to try to make an impact as well as you did tonight?
Thank you. I would say that's kind of my role.
Respectful.
Caitlin Clark's reaction to Lexi Hull's innocent comment had the entire room in stitches.
And take advantage of that. Caitlin? Yeah. What are we doing? Oh, Lord.
Coming in at number 6, Caitlin Clark and Lexi Hull's dynamic duo wasn't just reserved for the court. The two had fans cracking up once again when they pulled up to a Swig drive-thru to grab some fruit and soda drinks.
Playing with vanilla cream instead of coconut cream. Can I have the beach babe too, please?
What made this even more interesting was that Clark was immediately recognized. But when the friendly lady asked if she was really Caitlin Clark, Clark responded with a mischievous grin.
You're Caitlin Clark, right?
Maybe.
After being recognized, the owner gifted them golden mugs, guaranteeing them free refills whenever they came back.
Golden mug I want to give you. Golden mug means every time you come through Swig, you just get a free refill.
He said he was going to give us golden mugs. So we'll be back. Yeah.
At number 7, one thing that stands out about Caitlin Clark is how her teammates not only recognize her playful side, but also encourage it. Of course, sometimes they have to step in to keep her focused, like that time during warm-ups when Katie Lou got the best of Clark, locking in a submission and making her tap out. The whole team couldn't stop laughing. This was a hilarious moment that perfectly captured the fun and bond the team shares. Caitlin later opened up about it, admitting that she can be a bit of a child sometimes with how playful she gets.
She's just she's a kid sometimes, and keeps everything light, but sometimes you just gotta put her in place.
Coming in at number 8, Caitlin Clark's humor isn't confined to basketball. She can turn anything into a comedy show. In one unforgettable moment, Lexi Hull caught Clark delivering a full play-by-play commentary on a Philly baseball game.
And that ball's hit to the shortstop. Rojas throws it over to first base, and that's not going to be enough.
The video quickly went viral, perfectly capturing how effortlessly hilarious and entertaining Clark can be. Watching her switch from WNBA star to baseball commentator had fans in stitches.
The Phillies leading 1-0. We'll be back in a minute with a 30-second break.
It was such a viral moment that it even landed Clark an invitation.
The Phillies have taken her up on her offer to broadcast a game.
At number 9, Caitlin Clark's humor isn't just for her teammates. It extends to her family and friends as well. A perfect example of this is her hilarious moments with her boyfriend, Connor. The two have shared some truly funny interactions.
I just want to sleep for like 3 weeks straight after the season's over.
You want to sleep for 3 weeks straight during the season?
That too. I love sleeping. It's awesome.
The thing about Caitlyn is how she'll enthusiastically praise and appreciate Connor for being supportive, but she doesn't hesitate to throw friendly jabs at him, even during interviews. Like that time she casually mentioned that in a shooting competition, she outshoots him every time.
Having some shooting competitions, it gets a little heated. I definitely outshoot him way more than he outshoots me, but he tries to think otherwise.
And finally, at number 10, Caitlin Clark's playful and competitive spirit isn't just for her teammates and friends. It shines through in her family moments too. Her close bond with her family is filled with hilarious exchanges, but one of the best was when she got fouled and started complaining about it, only for her dad to shut it down with a classic, stop complaining response.
I move, and if they're open, she will find them. Martin commits the foul.
And that wraps up our list of Caitlin Clark's funniest moments. From her sharp wit to her playful antics, she never fails to entertain, both on and off the court. Whether she's cracking jokes, roasting teammates, or turning everyday moments into comedy gold, Caitlin proves she's not just a basketball star, she's a natural entertainer. If you enjoyed this compilation, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fun and unforgettable Caitlin Clark moments.
A lot to be proud of, and it all happened so fast, like it's hard to appreciate in the moment.
That is Iowa native and Indiana Fever star, and now Time's 2024 Athlete of the Year, Caitlin Clark, looking back at a whirlwind year.
Caitlin Clark has just taken the internet by storm, but not for the reasons you might expect. In a move that left the basketball world in awe, this 22-year-old superstar effortlessly swept up awards, sparking envy among some of her WNBA peers.
I see are the bees that are being dramatic about Caitlin Clark. That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court.
From being named Time's Athlete of the Year to securing a spot on Forbes' 100 Most Powerful Women list, Caitlin Clark's trophy case is overflowing with accolades. While countless fans are celebrating her remarkable achievements, others aren't so supportive and are throwing shade her way. You won't believe who's leading the jealousy parade, and what they're doing will absolutely stun you.
Time magazine recognizes the monster impact Clark had on basketball, saying good luck naming another athlete who altered the trajectory of their entire team sport within 5 months on the job.
Caitlin Clark has taken the basketball world by storm, effortlessly collecting awards as if they were going out of style. She clinched Time's Athlete of the Year, secured a spot on Forbes' 100 Most Influential Women, made it to Forbes' 30 Under 30, and to top it all off, she's been nominated for the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. But why is a 22-year-old rookie receiving so much recognition?
I first want to start with Time Magazine, Ari, and I think this is maybe the least surprising announcement of the year, that the Athlete of the Year for Time Magazine is Caitlin Clark.
Imagine a young woman stepping onto the court, instantly capturing the world's attention. That's Caitlin Clark for you. She's not just breaking records, she's obliterating them, with an astonishing 62 records in the WNBA alone. These numbers aren't merely impressive, they're legendary.
There's only one that can do what Caitlin Clark did. Bring all those eyes. For pure basketball purists, there's nobody like her. Now, culturally, we can make an argument, but like on the court, what she did, and I don't know if you saw, Indiana Fever yesterday posted this clip of Caitlin, and the caption was just her accolades, and it took 5 minutes to read, and I'm like, girl, do you want to chill at all? She doesn't know.
Zero. And it, listen, I think this is probably the easiest decision to make, right?
But Caitlin Clark's impact extends far beyond the stat sheet. She's transforming the game in ways no one could have anticipated. Remember when skeptics claimed that women's basketball wasn't exciting? Clark has made them eat their words. Her unique playing style captivates audiences, turning every game into must-see TV. In her own words, "I've been able to captivate so many people who have never watched women's sports, let alone women's basketball, and turn them into fans."
We've never, ever seen somebody in this way capture an audience, capture a new audience, and be able to absolutely attribute real numbers and statistics to their popularity, right? Like 19 million people watching, and certainly watching the national championship.
What truly sets Caitlin Clark apart from other rookies isn't just her exceptional skill, it's her extraordinary ability to elevate everyone around her. This standout trait has fans and analysts alike buzzing with excitement about what lies ahead for this basketball sensation. Remember the days when WNBA games struggled to fill the stands? Those days are becoming a distant memory. For years, the WNBA grappled with low attendance and declining viewership, leaving many skeptical about its future. People questioned, can one player really make a difference? Caitlin Clark has decisively answered that question with a resounding yes, transforming the landscape of the league and proving that a single star can ignite a powerful movement.
We talk about ceilings a lot, but she created a new floor. So now we're going to look back. Even if it doesn't hit the numbers that it hit this season, the expectation is much higher. The interest is generally much higher. The investment is much higher.
Let's break down the numbers. Since Caitlin Clark joined the WNBA, attendance has skyrocketed, TV ratings are through the roof, and merchandise sales are flying off the shelves. But it's not just about Clark. Her popularity is lifting the entire league. More fans, more media coverage, and more opportunities for players have transformed the WNBA into must-see entertainment. According to analysts, Clark alone is responsible for 26.5% of the league's revenue. That's not just impressive, it's a game changer. Clark has sparked a movement. Teammates like Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston have openly praised her, while friends like Sabrina Ionescu and Cameron Brink continue to celebrate her success. Even Kim Mulkey, Angel Reese's former coach, put aside past rivalries to call Clark a generational talent. Her impact extends far beyond her stats. She's changing how women's basketball is viewed worldwide. But with success comes backlash. Some WNBA veterans feel overshadowed by Clark's rapid rise. Aja Wilson's recent comments in Time magazine and Angel Reese's escalating speaking fees are stirring the pot, hinting at jealousy within the league. Even Sheryl Swoopes, a WNBA legend, questioned Clark's recent accolades. Yet, amidst the drama, Clark remains focused, letting her game speak volumes. Her influence isn't just elevating her team, it's reshaping women's sports as a whole. From her inclusion in Forbes' 30 Under 30 to her role in boosting league-wide attendance and merchandise sales, Clark is at the forefront of a new era. As the 2025 season approaches, all eyes are on her Indiana Fever, set to face Angel Reese's Chicago Sky in a highly anticipated opener. Clark's vision goes beyond personal success. She's committed to lifting the entire sport, saying, "I know my star power comes with benefits, but I also want to honor the work done before me to bring the league to this point." Her impact is already historic, but for Clark, this is just the beginning. With her ability to inspire fans and unite players, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the playbook for women's basketball. As she continues to break records and grow the league, she's not just changing the game, she's paving the way for future generations. The excitement is building, and the best is yet to come.